And together with my husband, Herbert Lawrence, we are making films already 30 years as freelance. We make mostly political documentaries. The topic of the last 10 years are films about and for defending our public commons. Here we specialize on water. For example, in 2005 we finished the documentary H2O Up for Sale. It is about the consequences of full privatization of the water industry through Thatcher in 1989. And this was very interesting for us because our multinational RWE bought Thames Water, and they managed it for a couple of years with very high profits. And but then they recognized that they have to invest a lot of money and they cannot take the profits anymore, and they went out because they didn't want to invest such a lot of money, and when they don't do it, there was a very bad image about them. So they went out, and it was sold, I think, for a Canadian investment fund. And there we were also in Yorkshire, and there the trade union man of the water industry said, you have to understand that money is the god of the water industry. This was 2005 in Europe, in England, and this was a sentence which was very important for all our work. So then the people, after that film, which was shown everywhere, the people recognized what it means, water in private hands, cuts of investments, cuts of workforce, water quality is decreasing, and so on. So since this time, the French model of privatization became popular. It was already mentioned, the public-private partnership. That means another thing. It was not a full privatization, but they say we are not privatizing because all the water utilities, all the treatments, all the pipes, all the manufacture, all these things are still in the property, in the common property. We only manage it. But this is a lie, because when a private corporation is managing such kind of water, they will do everything very intransparent, and it came out that the public has any more saying, any more possibility to see what kind of decisions are made. And I'm sorry. So in the end of the day, it was clear for all that PPP, public-private partnership, is also the same as privatization. In this context, so we made our new film, Water Makes Money. This is a film we will show here in 3:30 in a workshop. If you are interested, we are happy to show it to you. We show in the film that we give there the proof that public-private partnership is the same as privatization. And in this context, then we are very proud to say that hundreds of screenings with our documentary was one of the key events where people put their signature under the appeal of the referendum. The referendum about what I'm going to tell now. This was the first European-wide referendum, right to water. Maybe you know that. It was held from autumn 2012 up to September 2013, and it was organized and led by the different sections of the European Federation of Public Service Unions. But we have to say, with a big alliance of different NGOs, of ATTAC, of environmental organizations, or citizens' initiatives like Water Table in Berlin. Only all together, like you already described it, only all together for them it was possible that all together, stick together, it was possible to win this referendum. So we all got nearly 2 million voices. And this was a really big success. To be recognized as a referendum, minimum 7 countries had to collect enough signatures in comparison of their population. So it's called, they have to get to reach the quorum. And as you probably know, so and it was successful. In the end, it was not only 7 countries who got the quorum, but 12. What was the initiative impetus of this kind of referendum? I think the last job was the fact that not all European countries signed the Charter of the United Nations concerning that water is a human right. And this occurs not by chance, of course. So I go a little bit back in history. Since the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s, when the neoliberalism and deregulation was forced by the politics and finance capitals, more and more communities were selling their public water service. The slogan was, private corporation, much more efficient, they will do it better. The consequences were, for example, full privatization in England and Wales with Thatcher, where all water utilities, infrastructures, pipes and the management was given into private corporate hands. In France, it was invented a new model I was talking already about, the PPP. That means that only the management gets in private hands and the infrastructure, etc. belongs still to the municipalities. The same was or is happening and going on in Germany and Eastern Europe. The French multinationals Veolia, Suez, and the German RWE were aggressively grabbing for the public water supplies everywhere. So on this background, the trade union started the European referendum Right to Water. What was the goal of the referendum? With their signatures, people called the EU Commission to work out a legislative proposal which guarantees the human right on water like decided the UN, the United Nations. That means that everyone should have an access to water or sewage, how you say it? Sewage, in a good quality for a social price. Sorry. Why the referendum was so successful? I will mention a few points. The main reason for me is the fact that water is, besides air, the main common for all of us. This is easy to explain nearly everyone. In our film discussions, I experienced that people understand that in case of our commons, like health, rail, education, water, the government should take the responsibility controlled by the public. Another point is the awareness of people about water questions already was increased because of several actions of resistance against the very clear and obvious consequences of private water. Several movements all over Europe took action. I would say with the beginning of the new century, this was the movement began to work. We have heard about Cochabamba, followed Uruguay. In Uruguay, they installed the phrase that water should be in public hands in their constitution. In Netherlands also. And and we have in this time a lot of prevention of privatization, a lot of capital cities like Hamburg, like Kiel, in Europe, and examples for remunicipalization, for example in Paris in 2010, where the French multinationals Veolia and Suez managed the water. Also, everywhere in France, many public-private partnership contracts were finishing, and many municipalities took the chance to apply for remunicipalization. That's a very hard word. Berlin, where they had a public-private partnership with the French multinational Veolia and the German RWE, so they threw them out last year. Italy, they had in 2011 a big nationwide successful referendum against the law for privatization of Berlusconi. So again, when the decision was taken for the referendum, there was already an increased awareness for the water issue in some parts of the society. Especially high rates of signatures were collected in countries where the water supply is organized to a large extent in small regional monopolies with public ownership, like in Germany, Austria, Sweden, Italy, Netherlands, because they have something to defend, their public water. Also, a main point of success was caused by the strong support and co-production with all NGOs, I told already, ATTAC, environmental organization, and together with the trade unions, it was really a big alliance. Like Adriana Marquisio from Red Vida from Uruguay is saying in our film, we have overcome all difference between the different groups we have to unite across all political and ideological difference. All have to stay together. The army, the police, the teachers, the church, the trade unions, all have to stay together. Because without this, you don't have any chance to have a success. No? Yes, Julie? Yeah. Okay. The trade unions for public service could use their wide network to campaign, but to get in all different social levels, you need a broad alliance of all interested groups which organized a lot of activities and events with countless discussions. But it was successful also because at the same time of the referendum became public known that the EU Commission is going to install new guidelines for public services. Concerning water, it means that all municipalities should be forced to tender their water supply European-wide. For the multinationals, it would be a wonderful possibility to get in their feet into the municipalities. They worked for that years, and there were at least these private companies who worked out the law, the new guidelines of this concession. And so we can see already in February 2013, the first million signature was made already a political pressure. The EU Commission with Barnier felt already the pressure of the population and proposed exemption for water in the new guidelines. In June, they decided to take out water of the guidelines. So one of the demands of the referendum was met, not to liberalize the water industry. And what is such a referendum like Right to Water able to achieve? First, to bring the water discussion in all levels, institutions of society. The fight made people aware what does it mean when you turn public commons into private property or management. Lots have learned what is standing behind the three letters PPP, public-private partnership. And it's also very important that you let the politicians know and put them under pressure, especially before the EU elections. Only I would shortly say in the public, in March, there was a public hearing, and some candidates promised to support the demands of the referendum. So did some of the Greens, or Martin Schulz of the German Socialistic Party, or Jean-Claude Juncker of the Christ Democrats, also some of the European left wings, like the Greece Alexis Tsipras of Syriza. But some decision makers like Olli Rehn from the Liberals, who is responsible for European economy and the politics of the Troika, still say that the water industry should be opened for competition. The consequences we see in Greece and Spain, where they're forced to privatize their water utilities, like in Thessaloniki, where Suez is appealing for management. What to say in the end is, nevertheless, it was a great success when you think that it was the first time for European-wide referendum. And I can speak only about the German trade union Verdi. It was a great experience for them to take political action and influence political decisions. This year of the referendum was the first year not where they're losing members, but winning members. And I think we should take our time to think about how to overcome mistakes and difficulties to get more and more people involved. All what we can do more to establish democratic participation in the EU, because changings and resistance can only come from all of us, from you and from civil society, not from the politicians or from the finance investors.